Hello, my writing friends. This message is meant for all creative persons, not just writers. But I'm a writer, so I'm going to talk a lot about books, etc. But I think the themes will still be applicable. It's a tough life being a writer, being a creative. I mean, it's tough on planet Earth, regardless. But it is especially tough trying to create. I know there's this fun phrase out there called the starving artist, but I think there are a lot of us that are figuratively starving. Some of us are literally starving, and that is its own tragedy. But the sort of joke of a starving artist is not usually so dire as literal starvation. And it usually just means we're doing our best to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. The thing is it's not just artists. There's a lot of people out there, people who have lost normal, with quotation fingers, normal jobs, 9-to-5 jobs, people getting fired or laid off or whatever the situation is. So I'm here to cut through that stigma that's painted on artists. Because we're all struggling. Whether it's with straight up dollars at the end of the month, with relationships, with just self-doubt in general. So many ways to struggle, and we are diligent about finding them. Let's peel off one of those layers. The layer that says the artist must starve. It's hard work like anything else. It's extra hard work because you're not going in and punching in your time clock and getting the hourly dollar amount thing and coming home. Right? So in contrast to that, we creatives have to create our own world. Sometimes it's that trippy and that flighty, and we are trying to reinvent the wheel, or even more so, we're trying to enter into our own universe. And sometimes it's not that wild, and we're just trying to build a good marketing system, whether it's marketing our own products or something else. There are lots of layers and possibilities, but with writing, there are so many layers. The first layer is just the hard work itself, but here's the sad thing, the weird thing. Most of us writers, we glaze right over writing itself. By writing, I mean paragraphs and sentences and word choice and how to choose different words and when to punctuate correctly and when to use poetic license, all that stuff. Most of us writers glaze right over that because we are in constant dread about everything the world has to offer us or has to take from us. Most of the energy I see writers spending is worrying that their work isn't worth it or won't be good enough or is already done and therefore it's just a weak copy, or they don't know how to do all of the supplementary steps. By supplementary, I mean publishing. Publishing is, of course, the ultimate goal, to get published, to become famous, to make a living off of writing. But somehow we get it backwards. We writers forget to write and go straight to, how do I market? How am I going to live? How am I going to survive? Whether it's survive by putting food on the table or survive just the stresses of life and trying to discover how to make this weird path work. We forget to write. I'll tell you right now, that foils the process by default from the get-go, because if you're not writing, there's nothing to market. You don't have any products to sell. Boom, done. But even deeper than that, if you're not writing, you're not pursuing the thing that has plagued you all these years anyway. The reason you're so stuck on writing is because you're called to it. Whether God himself has set upon your heart the need to write, or there's some childhood event that made it really appealing to you, or it's just you have logically decided this is the path you should follow. Whatever it is, whatever puts you on the path, you're on it now. Even though you're sort of pinballing back and forth between the bumpers, you're on the path and you can't resist it. But, like I said, feeling stuck in this path, you're worried now about the end goal, not even the end goal, the end possibilities way out there. And you've forgotten writing. It is worthwhile. Writing itself is worthwhile. Whether it makes you bajillion dollars, whether it impresses your significant other, whether it finally satisfies your disappointed parents, writing is worthwhile. So many layers. So one of the first layers is simply just getting your brain mess out. It's cathartic. I've gone to a couple therapists and I've seen a couple counselors and had chats about things, and sometimes they've been helpful, sometimes nothing really happened, and sometimes they've been counterproductive. It's not the only resource we should pursue when we are distressed, but writing is a constant and reliable resource. It helps us see our own insides. That right there, I think, is part of what makes it so terrifying, but that also allows us to process through our insides and get to further steps. Beyond that, there is just this healthy exercise of trying to capture what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, so what we writers think, and turn it into literature. The parallel for other creatives is whether it's painting or music or dance, whatever it is, there's still this burning need to capture thoughts and or feelings and express them. With writing, a lot of times it's a little more blunt, so words to words, sometimes feelings to words, but the truth remains. We are trying to communicate. Sometimes it's as lofty as communicating a message to the world, a message of hope or warning or despair. We communicate. We humans use words, and for some reason we are eternally stuck on words, writing them and reading them, repeating them and memorizing them, turning them into songs, making them rhyme. My goodness, we are trying to communicate. We're trying to be heard, and we are trying to hear. Don't let the earth's weariness drag you down. Hear me out. I'm going to say a weird thing. There is so much pain in this world. There's a surplus. So you're never going to run out. And what I mean by the reason that's encouraging is because a lot of times we will convince ourselves, oh no, this event is causing me pain, or this event is leading me into pain, I shouldn't do it. Sometimes with our creative plans, yes indeed, we need to redirect our energies and maybe make a better plan. But here's the thing, a lot of times when we're encountering some sort of struggle in our creative efforts, it's not because of our creative efforts, it's just because life is fraught with peril. And yet, because of the stigma, sort of like the stereotype, the meme, starving artist, because of that stereotype, we often interpret our struggles as, dang it, like this thing is making this happen. How dare I try? How dare I hope? How dare I create? Separate those. There's struggles aplenty on this planet. Go write about them, honestly. Don't think that your choices exclusively have brought peril upon you. Don't be lazy and go to the opposite extreme saying, like, your choices don't make any sort of difference. Like, you're responsible for your choices. Sure, yes, indeed. But that doesn't mean that all the troubles you've encountered are because you're trying to create, because you're trying to write. It's hard work navigating through that swamp of confusion. But indeed there is truth beyond it. The truth is that everything in life is hard work. We're all trying. We're all kind of screwing it up. Nobody's solution is really better than somebody else's. I mean, one of the things that plagues writers also is people giving them unsolicited advice, saying, oh, you should try this, or you shouldn't do that, or you should stop, or how dare you. So much ranting garbage. It's no better than you saying there's similar things back. Well, you should be writing, you should be creating, you should be hoping more, whatever. Spouting your own unsolicited advice, not the plan. Absorbing the infamous, ubiquitous unsolicited advice isn't productive either. I don't have the solution for you. The world is, besides just being perilous, it's also bloody complex. But we'll step back from that, and the thing I want to emphasize again is simply it is worthwhile to write. Whether you get books out there and become J.K. Rowling famous, or you're just practicing this catharsis of turning feelings into words, it is so worthwhile. And if you put more of your energy simply into writing, I think you'll find a whole lot of value. Life is a lot, and then writing is a lot. The whole survival process is a lot. Be sobered by the fact that, man, everything's going to be kind of tough no matter what you do, and then be encouraged by the power that is writing and accepting that call upon your life. Be encouraged. There is hope. Pull some of your energy away from worrying about all of the aftermath details like formatting and marketing and publishing and stuff like that. Commit yourself to being a little more vulnerable and a little more diligent with your own writing. I'm Rudolph. Thanks for listening.